This is ACC Nation, your source for ACC sports coverage. Connect with us at accnation.net. Listen to our podcast and streaming radio. Watch us on YouTube and follow us on your favorite social media outlet. Now, here's Will and Jim.
Louisville Cardinals football. Welcome to this ACC Nation preview with Jody Demling, publisher of Cardinal Authority, play-by-play announcer on the ACC Network, and can be heard on the Louisville Radio Network. Welcome, Jody.
It's that time, isn't it? It's football season. It's just seems like we got finished with last year, but what a crazy offseason it is from now. And now when we talk about football season, you never know who is on the roster or who's there. It's not like it used to be where guys come back and all that. So, previews are literally previews nowadays, and it's kind of fun.
We're finding more and more people have extensive cheat sheets this year, more than ever before. So, not unusual. We were
47 newcomers. You think I don't have a cheat sheet here?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You've got to. There's absolutely no way that anybody can remember all of that. Well, maybe one or two exceptions, but for the rest of us, no way. We were talking before we started the program. You've got the background there of a really good game day background. The last time we caught up with you to talk about football, you were literally, and this is how busy he is, folks. He literally had just pulled into a parking lot and was kind enough to spend some time talking about Louisville football with us. And we appreciate you again joining us because we know that you're very busy on the road, getting ready to go to ACC kickoff. So a lot of stuff going on for you.
The best part about that pulling in, that was actually the first day of practice, I believe, last year at Louisville. So we talked a lot about some guys last year, and hopefully I can give you the same insight this year. It's been 2 fun years under Jeff Brom, and I think year 3 is going to be exciting.
Hope so. Let's start off with a thumbs up, thumbs down, or Will's option, which is sort of the on the schedule. Thumbs up for wins, thumbs down for losses, and the Will option is for not really sure. So we'll start out with the first game of the season, which is on Saturday, August 30th. It's a 3 p.m. game on the ACC Network. It's Louisville taking on Eastern Kentucky.
That's a thumbs up for me because it's Miller Moss. First time the Louisville fans are going to be able to see him in action. Eastern Kentucky team that won't match up. So you're going to get a trend here of home games early in the season, and the first home game will go well.
Notice that there were a little bit more home action going on this season too. So 6 games last year and 8 this year, I believe, home games. That's quite a difference.
Most in school history. I mean, they've had that one other time they had, and it was when I think this is due to, not to get off the subject, but I think this is due to Indiana buying out the last 2 years of their series with Louisville. I mean, Indiana's done that with everybody now. They're like buying out people left and right but they bought Louisville out it's last year, and then this was supposed to be the last year, and I think that's why the extra home game is in there.
Yeah, we could have a whole program on why Indiana's doing what they're doing, but we won't go there. We won't
Scared.
go there. So on Friday, September 5th, it's Louisville taking on JMU. JMU comes into Louisville. It's a 7 p.m. game on ESPN2. JMU in the past, as an FCS team, has been right up in there at the top. The last couple of years, as they've moved up in their schedule, have not been doing too badly, but they're finding out it's a little more competitive at the next level. What do you think about this game?
I give it a thumbs up for Louisville. I mean, I think, again, being home and early in the year, they're going to be ready to go. And Louisville, unfortunately, it comes right before an early bye week, so they've got 2 weeks to play and then get a little break. So I think they come out of the gate strong in these first two games.
I was getting ready to make a comment about this break coming. I mean, this is really early. It's 2 games and then a break, which I find a little unusual. But
It's a second year in a row. That's don't
really?
talk to coach. If you ever talk to Coach Braum about it, don't mention it because I don't think it's a happy thing. So I don't think he likes it too much. It did work out okay last year because they did get some injuries and they were able to get a week to get a couple of guys, back earlier than what they thought. Had that bye week been a little bit later, but still, it's just like you don't want to go through all fall camp and play 2 games and then have a week off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So.
Well, at least when they come back on the 20th of September, it's Bowling Green. So this game, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I mean, it's thumbs up on this one. They go 3-0 and they hit the road undefeated.
Good way to start the season with 3 wins. The next game up is Louisville at Pitt. Might be a little bit more of a challenge, but I don't think that Pitt is not instilling a lot of confidence in from my perspective. I'm kind of I'm right there with that will thing going on. But what do you think about Louisville taking on Pitt?
I mean, when you really look at it, I think, and I was looking at pardon me, some odds, and I believe Pitt was like 7th or 8th in the ACC as far as like the odds to win the league or whatever. Louisville was 4th. It'll be a good game. Louisville has had a hard time playing at Pitt. That's the only reason I say I want to do thumbs up, but I'm going to do Will's kind of just because they've had a hard time. The last time Louisville went there, they were undefeated. I think they were in Jeff Brom's first year. They had won, was it 6 or 7 in a row to begin the season, and they were undefeated. And then boom, the Louisville Cardinals got whipped pretty good that night.
You never know with Pitt. Pitt is the quintessential roller coaster team, and at least that's the way we view them here. Next up is Louisville. Virginia comes to visit, and another home game for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and I think Louisville will handle this one. Louisville's Jeff Brom's had a good track record against Virginia. The Cards, over the course of time, Louisville and Virginia have kind of a quiet rivalry that, like, I think 6 or 7 of the games have come down to either one possession, a couple of them on last second field goals. They've had some really close games, but I think Louisville wins this one.
I see this as a growing rivalry. I think that not only in football but basketball, definitely. We'll see how that plays out as well this year. Then we have a break after that game, which is probably a good thing. Now, this is where Coach might like this break a little bit more before coming back on Friday, October 17th. Louisville has to travel to Miami, Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, and it's an ESPN game at 7:00. So the powers that be look at this one and go, this is prime time.
Yeah, and this could, I mean, really, when you look at it, I mean, we're sitting here in July talking about it, so many things can happen between now and then. But if you're looking at the league and you're a non-biased person and you're like looking at the teams in the league, you look at this game and you think this game could have an impact on the league championship game. And I do believe that. Louisville does play Clemson later in the year. I think Clemson's the clear favorite. They're going to be coming out for blood this year after Louisville put it to them last year. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But last time Louisville went to Miami, they beat them, and it sent them on to the ACC championship game. It won't be late in the year like it was then. That was the last game of the regular season, or the second to last game of the regular season, but Louisville plays Kentucky at the end every year. I think Louisville Miami match up very well, and I think it's just a very close, tight game. It's kind of one of those where it can tip either way, and I don't know what between now and then we'll have to see what transpires. But I'd say that this is a very, very tight game and is going to have a major impact on the ACC race.
Totally agree with you on that. Up next is Louisville hosting Boston College, a team that may be overlooked but should not be at any point because they're the type of team that sneaks up on you.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you look at this Boston College team and a team that Louisville has played in the first 2 years under Jeff Brom, they've been really close, tight games. And honestly, um, they probably should have lost last year, and they didn't. They came back at the end and they rallied, but it was probably one of those games where you flip a coin and 50% of the time you lose that, maybe 60% of the time you lose that game. Boston College was putting it to them pretty good, and then they made some big plays and come back. I think this is one where, again, Louisville is really, really good at home, and they're really good at home as a favorite. So that's why I give them the thumbs up in this one, just for the sheer fact that it was a close game last year.
Let's talk a little bit about this home factor. Blacksburg. Louisville has to travel to visit the Hokies in Blacksburg, and whether Virginia Tech shows up this season or not, this is because they're playing in that environment. Sometimes that can rattle teams. So Louisville at Virginia Tech, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Never been there. How about that? July 1st, 2014, Louisville joined the ACC. I've been to every game since then on the road, and Louisville's not played in Virginia Tech. We kept wondering, when's it going to happen? It was supposed to be the COVID year, and then they changed the schedule. Well, then it was supposed to be either the next year or maybe 2020 or 2021, maybe, and then they rearranged the opponents, and it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. I still say between now and November 1st, there's a chance that they change things and Louisville doesn't go to Virginia Tech. So, but no, I'm super excited for this one. I'm not sure Jeff Brom and his staff are excited because it will be a tough game, no matter what Virginia Tech has out there and what they do before then. It's going to be a tough game. It's kind of really, to me, it's one of those games. I won't say it's a trap game, but it's one of those games you look at and you're like, okay, we should probably win this game, but it's just difficult to go there and win, and so that's why it's kind of like the old I'll give it the I'm not going to give it a thumbs up just yet. I want to see really what Louisville does, but I like their chances. They just have to be focused.
Gotcha. Louisville is going to play host to Cal as they come across the long flight. Okay, so.
Yeah. I gotta you gotta like this. I'm gonna give a thumbs up on that. I think Louisville wins this one, and they go into their final two ACC games. I think that way it sets up. You win the Cal game, you go in your final two ACC games with a chance to win the league title.
Now the next two games, certainly. This could be all about the ACC.
Yep.
It really is. It's one of those things. If things go Louisville's way up until this point, they have an opportunity to really close the door or at least open a door for themselves. This game on Friday, November 14th, it is going to be primetime, ESPN at 8 o'clock. Louisville hosts Clemson, and that is their advantage, big advantage on Clemson. We'll see how this all plays out.
They'd never beaten Clemson till last year. They actually got them pretty good. I mean, Louisville settled for a couple field goals when you thought they should have probably converted touchdowns and converted things. In the end, Isaac Brown gets the big run, and I'm sure Clemson will remember the gesture where he kind of put him to sleep in the end zone right up against the mascot. So there's going to be a lot of emotion in this game. I really think Louisville, Jeff Brom is really, really, really good as an underdog. And every year, if you look back in his career, every year he has a signature kind of upset victory. Back when he was at Purdue, Ohio State was number 2. They came in to West Lafayette and they left with a beating, and it happened time and time again. So I like their chances. It's kind of one of those. I think that it's like I said, these 2 weeks are for the ACC championship because if you win this one against Clemson, you don't have much time to look ahead because the next one's really difficult.
Yep. Another tough out here. The last 2 games really, really challenging in the ACC. Louisville is traveling to Dallas, taking on SMU.
Yeah, and I think it's the same thing that we just said. The same thing we just said about that game. We say about this one as well, and but this one's on the road. That's the difference with this one. It's on the road. I like Louisville's chances at home better than I do on the road. But Clemson is a little bit, to me, Clemson's a little bit different than SMU. Not that SMU is not going to be as good as they were last year. I think they think they're going to be right there. But man, they were really good when they played Louisville. It was before they had some injuries early last year. And they were really, really, really good when they came to L&N Stadium and beat Louisville last year. So it'll be an interesting one. It's another one of those if ones, and I think you go into the last game of the regular season, and I really think Louisville's got a chance to make it to the league championship game, but it's going to be difficult.
All right, I'm going to ask you about this last game, but I just want to preface it by saying if you answer incorrectly, you will never be allowed back within the city limits of Louisville. So be careful about how you answer this. Louisville hosts Kentucky, and I would literally, I'd hate to be Cats fan coming into Louisville for this game because I think they're going to get the what for.
Yeah, and look, Kentucky had won 5 in a row in the series. Jeff Brom got that right last year. The big offseason story has been Vince Marrow, who was 12-year assistant coach at Kentucky. Mark Stoops' his right-hand man, the main recruiter for the Wildcats and the rivalry for all those years. And early July or late June, early July, Jeff Brom hires him to be his general manager and recruiting guy and just do the roster. It's just wild. I would have never ever thought. I mean, we've heard that it could be happening. Would have never ever thought that it was going to happen, and it happened. And when we're doing this, it just they had that TBT basketball tournament in Louisville, the basketball tournament where the alums do. Last night was the first time Vince Marrow has been seen in Louisville gear, like with a photo, and it's just so weird after so long of being the guy that Louisville fans didn't like at Kentucky. So there's a lot in this game, not to mention the fact that what's Kentucky's season going to look like? Mark Stoops, people say he's on the hot seat. Is this going to be it? Can Louisville and Vince Marrow end Mark Stoops' career at Kentucky? I mean, there's so many storylines. It's just mind-boggling. But in the end, Louisville's got more talent than Kentucky does this year, and they'll be playing for a purpose. If they're in the ACC championship game, they're going to be playing to keep sharp and keep ready to go for that next week. If they're not, they're going to be playing for the best bowl game they can possibly get. And so that's going to be it's going to be an interesting one, but Louisville will win that one.
Good stuff. Lots to talk about on the offensive and defensive side of things, and Will's going to get into that with you, Jody.
It just dawned on me, Jim, we'll probably have the wrong background color for this interview. Just saying.
I wasn't going to say that, but I don't like blue.
Look, no, it was when you started talking about Vince Marrow that I was like, yeah, this is probably because that was actually going to be my first question, but you answered it for me. But this is my first time chatting with you, Jody, so I'm excited to chat with you and learn about the football team. So this is year number 3 of Jeff Rahman. Year number 3, we've got a transfer quarterback in Miller Moss. It's obviously worked out the first couple of years, and I guess this is the one where I have a little bit of hesitation because of Miller Moss getting benched at the end of the season but at USC, and I'm kind of like, are we sure it's going to work out for that? So tell me what we see from Miller Moss this season.
First of all, Jack Plummer, Tyler Shuck, Miller Moss, they're all 3 different, okay? Tyler Shuck was an anomaly. I mean, Tyler Shuck was just one of those guys that couldn't stay healthy. And we talked about it last year, Jim, when Jim and I talked. I mean, it wasn't like it was like the same injury over and over and over. There were some freak injuries in there. And that's why Jeff Brom kept saying, look, if I can get this guy for 1 year and get him through without being injured, he's going to do great. And he did. He did great. Second round pick. And now, who knows? I mean, with the Saints, what his career is going to be like, but I think he's going to have a good career. Now, with that being said, Jack Plummer the year before that was good. I didn't think was great. He had a lot of good weapons around him. This year, I think it's kind of the same with Miller. I don't think he has to be Tyler Shuck. He doesn't have to be great, but he has to be efficient. He has to manage the game, and he has to be able to make some plays. And this is a guy that can do that. He's got a strong arm. He's got some escapability. He's got some things that he can do. He's a guy that can do what Jeff Brom needs him to do in this offense. And they have a ton of weapons around him, including a backfield that might be, if not the one of the top 2 or 3 best in the country when it's all said and done.
Absolutely, and that's we're going to go there next. And just the depth of it with Isaac Brown, Duke Watson, Keywan, and quite frankly, given the current state of college athletics, the fact that they all three are back is kind of a miracle.
Well, how about Keywan Brown going into the portal and then deciding to come back? That makes it even crazier. Isaac Brown had a great freshman year, rookie of the year in the ACC. He's the guy that everybody knows. I mean, he's listed by many as the, I guess, second team All-American by most going into it, which is a pretty good thing for a sophomore. But Duke Watson's unbelievable. I mean, Isaac's great and he's the guy, but Duke is not that far. I mean, they call him 1 and 1A in Louisville, and the staff does because they're so, so good. Duke Watson's a guy who led the nation in yards per carry, last year. And when you really look at it, he didn't do a whole lot until the end of the season. He's a guy that this time last year, right now, still wasn't on campus at Louisville. He didn't show up till right before the fall camp began, and just took off and was one of those dudes. And then Keywan's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit more of a bruiser than what those two are. And I think we're going to see him. He had a huge spring, and they really, really like what he did. And then there's another one. There's a fourth one. There's a freshman, Jamarius Wilder is his name. They call him Gata, and he is fast as can be. Maybe not Isaac and Duke fast, but not that far behind them. And he's a true freshman from down in Florida who I think will get some time.
Receiver, I think, is kind of a little bit a little bit of a question mark just because there is so much gone. I know Chris Bell's back, and I know Colin Lacey is somebody who I thought there was some questions about him potentially going on the portal, but he came around. Who else is going to step up at receiver this year?
Well, I mean, when you really look at it, Chris Bell and Chris and Colin are the two main guys coming back from last year, but Louisville went out and got some help in the portal, and I think the guys that are going to be the biggest additions in the portal, Dakari Collins is a big guy, 6'4"-ish, 200 pounds from NC State, has played really, really well at NC State. I think he's a guy that can come in and make some big plays. But the one that I'm looking for to have the breakout year, and if you play like any of those college football fantasy things, if anybody's got a draft coming up, remember this name, Trayshawn Hurry, 6'2", 195-pound, speedy guy. He's a California kid, played at San Jose State, and I think he's going to be maybe the biggest breakout guy that Louisville has this year. I think he's a guy that everybody's gonna know his name by the middle of the season, by the end of the season, and he's gonna be a big help for. Colin Lacey's great, gonna be underneath, gonna catch some stuff. Chris Bell, the guy that can get stuff on the edge. Dakari's the bigger guy. Trayshawn's a little guy that can. Trayshawn is a guy who can do a little bit of everything, and he's had a huge. Was not here in the spring, but he's been huge this summer out there with them. So you've got 4 good weapons right there, and they've upgraded their tight end room this year to make it a little bit better than what it has been in the last couple years. So I think when you really look at those at that kind of stuff, you've got some talent in there.
Offensive line seems like it's a little bit up in the air, especially out wide heading in the spring. I know they're pretty solid up the middle. What can you tell us about the O-line?
They've got a lot of them. I can tell you that. They have replenished. And I think of the 18 guys, I think 7 of them, 6 of them are transfers and 2 of them are true freshmen when you really look at it. Pete Niagara is a guy at center. He's going to start. I think center's so difficult to judge but I would not be shocked at the end of the year if Pete Niagara is the first or second team All ACC center. He is really that good. He is very, very solid and as good as we've had here at Louisville in a while. Lance Robinson is a guy on the outside who played a lot last year, got a little injured, and is coming back. You also have Rasheed Miller, who had really come on. I thought was probably going to crack into the starting lineup towards the end of last year, and then suffered a hand injury and was out for the rest of the year. That happened on one of the first plays of the Boston College game. So that is when that happened to him. Trevante Sylvester is a guy who played a lot last year, and he will be back. And then you've got the newcomers. Jordan Church there's one from FIU and one from FAU. So Jordan Church is from FIU. Mahame Musa is a guy who played and was recruited at Purdue by Jeff Brom and his staff and transferred to Louisville for his final season. McKalen Pounders, you need an offensive lineman with the last name of Pounders, right? He's a Mississippi State transfer. He's a guy that's going to be in the mix. So you see, they got a lot of guys, and then Nair Jackson is the FIU guys. Church the FAU, Jackson the FIU. They've got a lot of guys. They just got to find a piece. And when you have that center, I think it's good because you can build around it a little bit. But I really think their offensive line by the end of the year this year, because of the depth that they have, I think the offensive line is going to be a strength.
And let's switch over to defenses. This is definitely an area that probably needs to be improved this year. There's some continuity in the middle at defensive tackle, but a lot of questions at the end with Ashton Gelati in the NFL. What do we need to know about this defensive line?
So I think the defensive line, the one thing we need to know about the defensive line is that the guys up the middle are really, really good. And they're big, big dudes as well. When you look at a guy, Jordan Gerard let's see, Renee Conga, 6'4", 300. And I was looking up their sizes. Jordan Gerard, 6'3", 300. So they've got two guys that are 300 plus pounds up the middle. They've got some depth behind them. I'm really kind of looking forward to see what Clev Lubin, that's another great name. You need a Clev on the defensive line. Clev Lubin is a transfer from Coastal Carolina. I'm excited to see what he can do. And then you're right on the ends. That's the question mark to me, is who comes out and does some things on the ends. Adonijah Green is a 6'6", 260-pound defensive end who, when he got to Louisville, he was 6'6", 212 pounds. He's now in his third year here at Louisville, and he's gone from 212 pounds to 255, 60 pounds. He's a guy that I think has to turn the corner this year. He played a lot of snaps. If he can get something going this year, then I think they're going to be really, really good. And like I said, Lubin and Denzel Lowry and Justin Beatles, some different guys that have transferred in, but the defensive ends and the secondary, to me, are the biggest question marks on this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't mention linebacker because this is one area where there's a lot of continuity there with TJ Quinn, Stanquan Clark, and then what's the other guy's name? Antonio Watts. Back. Yep. So this seems like this is the strength of the defense here.
I'd say they're one of the better linebacking cores in the ACC. I saw one of the national guys had them as like maybe fifth or sixth overall in the country. I don't know if they're that good. I hope they're that good for Louisville's sake, but Stanquan Clark, I think, could be their best defensive guy. 6'4", 235 pounds, can run like a deer and gets all over the field and has just got that nasty attitude. Antonio Watts might be the best athlete of anybody. 6'2", 225. It's like a 40-inch vertical. The play at the end of the bowl game where he went back one-handed, knocked that ball out. Nobody else on the defense could make that play. Antonio Watts did. And TJ Quinn's made a lot of plays for Louisville over the course of time. The one guy that I want to remember is Caleb Perry. He's a transfer. He's a Kentucky kid from Georgetown, Kentucky, up near Lexington, transferred from Tennessee this year, and is really, really, I think, going to push these other guys for their snaps. I think he's going to end up playing a lot of snaps.
So yeah, you mentioned the questions at secondary. By my count, there's five different transfers in coming in from the secondary. What do we need to know here?
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of transfers, including their latest one. They just got a new one 2 weeks ago, I guess. New Mexico State transferred Nigel Williams, who played a year at Northwestern and a year at New Mexico State, and now is coming to Louisville. You look, they've got a couple of guys that are back. D'Angelo Hutchinson at a safety spot, and Ramon Mosby is a guy who came in the bowl game and had to play and really played well. So those two guys coming back are really talented. There's not a lot around him coming back other than those two. A guy like Rodney Johnson, Southern University transfer. They found this guy, took a chance on him, and in the spring, he was their best corner. So we'll see what he can do during the season. Jabari Mack, a guy like Justin Agu, guys that they're transfers. They're gonna have to play. It's just going to be difficult, and in my opinion, for the secondary to be as good as it was last year. They don't have an NFL caliber guy back there right now that we know of. There might be, but Quincy Riley was injured some last year, but still, when he was on the field, he was a dude. And so this is defensive end is the second biggest question mark. This is the biggest question mark on mine. I still think they needed another body or two, but we'll see. It's only July. It's only July 21st. I mean, heck, guys, people can add guys all the way up to August nowadays, so you never know what's going to happen. But I think they need one more body if they could find one somewhere out there. And I know they've been looking. I know they've still been looking to add. Like I said, Nigel Williams just a week ago is when they announced that he was coming on the team.
Jody, there is something that I think sometimes as a consumer of sports or any sort of entertainment, often we sort of take things for granted or we don't know the complete story. But that part fascinates me immensely, and so I start looking at the history of what people have done and how they've gotten to where they are today. And I look at your history, and it's pretty extensive. You've got newspaper and
Mhm.
podcasting, and you're doing Cardinal Authority, and I could just keep going down this long list of things. Uh, Give us a rundown of all the stuff that you've done because you are very well known throughout the Louisville community, but you're also nationally known for all the stuff that you're involved in and your expertise that you share, like with us and other people.
Well, the crazy thing about my life is this. So I come from my family. My dad passed away. He was one of eight. He was the youngest of eight in the Demling family, and we're known as, and before I say this, it's not me, it skipped me. We're known as the first family of golf in the state of Kentucky because all my uncles, cousins, and nieces and nephews and everybody, they're all golf, and they are really good at it, and they do a lot of high level thing. I've had uncles that are professionals and have done things on professionally and all that. So it's kind of skipped me now, I will say that, but I can play a little bit, but not much. So I've had the golf aspect of my life here on kind of on this side over here. Well, then I come from Louisville, Kentucky. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. I was raised in Louisville, Kentucky. And if you're born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, you have a horse racing background because you skipped school many a times when you were younger with your aunt or your uncle or your grandma or your mom or dad and went to the race to Churchill Downs. And so I had those two things in my background before I even knew that I wanted to get into sports. And when I got into sports at the newspaper, I started out doing high schools. Actually, I started out doing the old days when we used to open open the newspaper to look at the agate, the box scores. I started doing that. I was kind of an old school guy, but I got into golf and horse racing, but was always big into basketball and football and U of L stuff. And I was the first guy to become a recruiting writer. I don't know why I did that, because it drives you crazy sometimes, chasing down these 17, 18-year-old kids. But I was a recruiting writer for the Courier Journal for about 7 years when nobody else really did it at the time. And we were doing it to get clicks, and that's what we got. I covered Louisville, Kentucky, and Indiana, and Western Kentucky, and Eastern Kentucky. And so all the schools around the area in that. So that was kind of fun. But I've been blessed. I mean, I've covered seven Masters, two Ryder Cups on the golf side of things, and a bunch of PGAs and other things. I've now done 31 Kentucky Derbies, I think is what I've done. I now do a lot of handicapping the last 15, 20 years. So I'm the handicapper for CBS Sports Line is what it is. And then the college thing is just something that when I left the newspaper, I had done a bunch of video stuff, and in radio and TV kind of came easy. And so it's been fun. I mean, I don't, people say, what is your favorite? I don't really have a favorite. It's just whatever I'm doing, now. So it's fun. Football season's always fun because it's the beginning. Derby is in May, April and May. We get Derby after basketball season, and then you get a little time off, and then you get going in July for football season, because it's the start of the whole cycle again.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've done horse racing on television?
I have not called a race on television.
Okay.
That's the one thing I've done. I've done some commentary about the races on television and done a bunch of different things with horse racing on TV. But the one thing that I haven't done yet, and I don't know that I really want to do it because it is a major challenge, is to actually call. Is to actually call. I don't know that I want to do that. So I've called. I've done play-by-play and color for basketball for Louisville, and basketball and football, and field hockey and baseball and all the other sports or whatever. So I've done all that. But man, when even if you just have 6 horses out there, it's like it's just so many things. Those guys, I say that, those guys are unbelievable at how they can do it. Paul Rogers, who's the voice of the Louisville Cardinals, who's been doing it for almost 50 years now, I think, or maybe over 50 years at Louisville. He actually called 50 Kentucky Derbies and on WHS radio in Louisville. And I always tell him, I'm like, I don't know how you do it. And he's like, I don't either, because it's so difficult. You just have to be ready, all the colors and everything like that. So it's wild.
It's like auctioneering,
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
I guess, it intrigues me because the most difficult thing I've ever done was play-by-play for a golf tournament, a couple of times. And when I was first asked to do it, I was like, you want me to do what? And it comes, but it's challenging. I just wanted to see, when I read, I thought I'd read that you had done, the horse racing, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got to find out what that's like.
No, it's the one thing I've done it on my own, trying to see, do I really want to? And I'm like, I don't know that I want to do this, because it's pretty difficult. Now, you're talking the Kentucky Derby's even a different level, because there's 20 horses every year in there. I mean, that's just a totally different level. So, so I don't know. I don't know if I want to bite that one off. We'll see down the road.
I'll tell you what, if there's any need for someone to do snarky comments about hats, just call Will and I, and we'll be more than glad to step up and give our 2 cents worth, because we're good at that. So, oh my! So, Jody, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing some tidbits, because it's nice to know. Like I said, listeners, viewers, readers, they don't always know the background. They enjoy,
right,
and they appreciate, and they become fans of, but they don't really know that much about the backgrounds of the people who are providing them with these services and things.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear directly from you about what's what. So
yep, no, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be fun. I don't know. I've heard people call Jeff Brom one of the portal kings. I've heard him called the quarterback whisperer. Well, this year they're going to need him to be both. Hopefully he got it right in the portal, and hopefully the whisperer can work magic with Miller Moss. I think it will, and if it does, I think Louisville's going to be right there in the ACC race.
very good. All right. Our thanks to Jody Demling, publisher of Cardinal Authority. And you can find him in like just about every corner of Louisville sports. Let's put it that way. Thank you, sir, for joining us and talking about the Cardinals.
Yep. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
ACC Nation, your source for ACC sports coverage with Will and Jim. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on our podcast, streaming radio, and YouTube. Connect with us on Blue Sky, Reddit, Instagram, Threads, Mastodon, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn.